Hello and welcome. I hope you are having a great day today. We are doing the spring season preview today. We are also going to be doing 5 giveaways today. You must be following my channel to qualify. Exclamation dream in chat to enter the giveaway. We will draw the winners at the end of the stream. Without further ado, I introduce to you, if you have not met them before, RDM and PGYohn, who are going to talk about our spring season. Hello.
Excited to be here.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Hey. Nice to see you all again. It's been a while.
Hello, everyone in chat. There's a lot of people. I'm not going to say you all, but hello. Thanks for being here. That's a lot.
Cool.
Awesome. I see a few new names and a whole bunch of familiar names. Okay, no sound effects for my mods today, you guys. Sorry. All right. Our spring season preview.
Let's get started. Awesome. So we have a whole lot of stuff that we've been working on, and we've been a little quiet for a little while. So we wanted to get a team together. And so we are here today to talk about all these great things that we've been cooking up. I'm super excited to tell you about a little bit of the story behind what's going on, and then take a little bit of a deeper dive into the specifics of what you guys can be looking forward to, what kind of stuff we're doing later. So myself, if you haven't seen or met me before, I am RDM, and I'm here today with PGYohn, and we're going to go over all this stuff. And hopefully it'll be fun and exciting, and I can't wait to tell you guys about it. So let's jump right in. The first thing that we're going to talk to you guys about today is the spring season preview. And we're going to talk a little bit about the story, a little bit about the lore of what's going on here. I'm going to try to provide some insight on the design side of why the dragons look the way they do and what's going on and what their motivations and stuff like that are. A little bit more exciting, I think, than if I were to instead just talk the spell specifics to you. You'll be able to find all that information. Don't worry, we're not keeping it from you. But the point of the stream is to give you a little bit of that extra stuff that you can't normally get. So let's hop right in. We'll take a look at our first slide here that kind of sets up the story, and I'll give you guys a little bit of insight onto what's been going on in Atlas while I've been a little quiet working on it. Also, there's a slight delay between what I am saying in the stream, so if I start talking about a slide before you guys see it, or it takes me like a couple seconds to talk about something that you see on screen, please bear with me. I'm working. I'm doing my best here. It'll be maybe a little bit long pauses at some points, but we can work with that. Cool. So first, we have the first sign of the void, and we saw this in Magorat in the winter season of 2022. What's happening here is you can see that there's some sort of infestation. He's got some weird stuff going on with his skin. And there was a little bit of story about something coming into the Stygian void that the other dragons were fighting against. And that's kind of the backdrop of what's going on here. So in winter, we started with this first sign of evilness kind of taking over or infecting our first dragon, or as we would say, the first sign of corruption. Drum roll to the next slide. Let's go. We're gonna nail it. I have no idea when you guys see it. Yeah, corruption. Okay, so there is void evilness seeping out into the Atlas world. If you guys were here a long time ago, you might have heard of Withermoon, which was a season we did about kind of the influence of the void uh, getting thin during a certain time of year. And cultists that worship void dragons and void creatures, spreading that influence around. And we had some pretty famous dragons come out around that time. So what we are going to be happening, or what's happening here in corruption, is that very first sign of the void that we saw in winter is starting to spread across. It's starting to get stronger. The influence is growing. The barrier between Atlas and the void is getting weaker, and we're going to start to see some of the dragons fall to its influence, and some new dragons that you haven't met before rise up in defense, fighting back the influence of the void. So if we go to our first dragon here that we have, it is going to be our sorcerer discount dragon for the spring season, and it is Claylis. Claylis is a sorceress dragon with the unique power to cleanse the influence of the void off of other beings. So as you can see on the tips of her wings and her feet, she's got a little bit of like burning blue magic. The power of her dragon breath, her water that she breathes and can, well, not breathes, that's a weird way of saying it, but the power of her water has the ability to cleanse the influence of the void from other things. As you can see, it is being cleansed off her body in this blue fire. And so her rider is working, or is a famous alchemist who is working with her dragon together to create cures for the other dragons and help fight back the spread of the influence. The next dragon we're going to talk about, I'm going to give it a second here, is going to be the warrior mythic, and that is Valinor. Valinor is a very special dragon in that he is naturally resistant to the influence of the void. So while his entire company, all of the dragons that he fought alongside, have slowly fallen to the influence and become corrupted, Valinor himself and the strength of his scales have a natural resistance so that he's able to fight back against the corruption that has taken over not only his own like brothers in arms, but all dragons that have fallen to this. So a lot of, you'll see in his rider as well, who is wearing armor fashioned from the scales of Valinor. Valinor is on the front lines fighting back because he can go deep into enemy territory without any risk of the corruption getting to him and turning him, as it has some of the other dragons that you will see next. So the next dragon we've got here is going to be another mythic. It is Interitus. Sorry, so quick aside real quick, we're gonna hop us out of the story. I set my push to talk button to be the left arrow key because it was nice and big and close for me to touch, and that rockets me through the slides whenever I press it down. So I'm attempting to speak and then shooting myself through the slides to the end, and then I have to come back. But so that aside, anyway, here we have Interitus, who is kind of the lead corrupted dragon that is leading the forces of the void on Atlas. This is not a void dragon. This is a like first influence evil dragon that has been converted and now does the bidding of the void. This is our dark mythic sorcerer. Very cool. Yes, caps lock is a much better suggestion. Thank you. Clearly, I should have thought this out a little better. Or my mouse button, something like that. Yeah, and so working with him are actually some dragons you might recognize. And we'll go to the next one, which is our mythic hunter this season, which is Fergax. Now, if you are familiar with the dragon Ferga, Fergax is a mythic form of a very, very old hunter dragon. So this dragon has become corrupted, grown greatly in power, and is now fighting on the side of the void. Pretty cool. Very excited about this dragon. It looks beautiful, and we've had a lot of comments recently about, is it possible for us to start bringing back some more fan favorite dragons? And so this is the first step. I know Ferga might not be a fan favorite for a lot, but we are, doing our first attempt at what does it look like when we do this with just any dragon? How well can we fit the dragon into the season? Does it feel like it matches up well? Is it too awkward if we're just like, and suddenly, like Kinarix appeared? That kind of stuff, those kinds of concerns. So here we see Fergax. We definitely intend to do more, especially some more favorite dragons of the community in the future. But this is the first one, but not the only one this season. Because if we go to the next slide, we have our festive dragon for the season. And I'm not going to tell you the name of this dragon, and I'm not going to tell you what dragon it's based off of, but if you want to make your guesses in the chat, this is a very old dragon that has also been corrupted by void influence here, and is coming back as the festive dragon for the corruption season. I'm seeing a lot of people who are excited in the chat about about just listing off their favorite dragons that they want to see coming back. And this is actually great if you are hyped about a dragon that you want to see again, as long as its name isn't that the dragon who shall not be named. We can probably do it. So yeah, that is just a quick little talk about what's been going on. A little bit of story for you, a little bit of setup for the spring season, for the corruption season. So what do you guys think? Maybe Laika, what's your favorite looking dragon so far, or who has the coolest story, or what are you most interested in out of what we've looked at?
I mean, I kind of like the story of the legendary as far as the story goes. And I really like the look. Like, I set it to my desktop picture. And then I like the pretty stuff. So like I do like the warrior. But I know a lot of people out there are gonna dig both the sorcerer and the hunter. Personally, I wish the legendary was the mythic, right? Because I think it's just the prettiest looking one. But I'll get it either way, so I guess that's fine too. And Somnus, which somebody said the sorcerer reminds them of Somnus. Somnus was my literal first love in the game. Like the first dragon that made me feel super strong. And I was like, yes, I love sorcerers. That didn't last very long. But, but it is really cool looking. So yeah, I think everybody will be really happy with the art this season. And I know a lot of people have been wanting, I don't know, prettier dragons, so at least there's a couple in there this season for those of us that like pretty stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, tell us in chat what your favorites are. I think Claylus is like my favorite looking too. Another thing that we're not showing here that I hope you guys all enjoy as well is the riders, because the riders have a lot of story in how they pair with their dragon. I know I talked a teeny bit about them, but we're doing some kind of new stuff with riders too. Well, not necessarily riders, but portraits that coming out in the branches, where we're doing like some sort of void demons for some of them, and we're doing all sorts of new directions that we haven't necessarily gone with portraits in the past to build out the story and the characters. But I also want to ask PGYohn, who's your favorite dragon so far? Who do you think you might be picking up?
Yeah, I was actually just typing that in the chat, but I realized I wasn't even logged into Twitch, so that wasn't working very well. I think I like I was saying I like the logo of Fergax. I think it's a really sweet logo. I don't know, like it's cool, like it's like fiery, steely. It's like forged from steel. I think that's pretty sweet. But Valinor, I think, has like really cool concept art. I'm excited to see what both of those dragons look like in the game once we get 3D kind of and animation. And Valinor reminds me of Rings of Power. I think it's the city in Rings of Power, right? That they all sail from. So I don't know. It just like reminds me of that. And I guess that's like a pleasant reminder. Anyway, that's what I think. I like those two dragons.
Yeah, that's
Someone
awesome.
just arrived late, so I'm going to show them from start to finish again. So here's our discount Ice Sorcerer, Mythic Wind Warrior, Mythic Dark Sorcerer, and then Mythic Fire Hunter. Love the artwork. Lots of positive comments in chat. Loving it.
Yes. Props to the art team. If you see Fine Spline on another stream at some point, be sure to tell him that you love it. They've been working really hard to get us awesome art. They do a fantastic job all the time. Love it.
Fine Spline hangs out with both Pep and I on our streams sometimes.
Heck yeah. He's an awesome guy. Cool. I think that wraps up a little bit of the story, a little bit of the narrative. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions about those kinds of things, be sure to type them in the chat. I think I'm going to hand things over to PGYohn now to talk a little bit about the next thing, and I'll answer questions in the chat if you have any about those dragons.
Cool. Well, hi everyone. I'm PGYohn. I'm really excited to be here today and chat with you all. I think it's been a while since I've been on a stream. Probably, I was on your stream like probably over a season ago, I think. But I'm glad to be back and see everybody. Keep the comments coming. I'll stop every once in a while and see if I can answer any questions. But we've got some new features coming up for you. Obviously, we have a lot of cool new dragons, just like we do every season. More info on the spell kits is going to come, and on kind of like the detailed aspects of the dragons. Hopefully, the cool concept art can tie you over until then. But we also want to talk about some of these new features that are coming, and we have two. So one is called Ascendant Gear, and the other is called Relics. Thematically, both of these build on existing features to expand and hopefully correct some aspects of them in the past. And yeah, let's get right into it. So let's talk about Ascendant Gear. So I'm flipping to the Ascendant Gear slide. I think we're already there probably, but I'm just going to talk about it, and I think the slide will catch up to me. So Ascendant Gear is the next iteration of craftable gear in War Dragons. Now this says sneak peek. Some of you got a sneakier peek this morning due to some errors on our end, but consider this the formal sneak peek. So we have the sneak peek today, and Ascendant Gear, like I said, is the next iteration of craftable gear in War Dragons. Expands breadth, expands scope of content and buffs players can engage in. So what are some cool things about Ascendant Gear, and what are we doing with it? One, I saw some questions and concern that it's going to be like Ascendant Dragons and it's going to be tagged to dragons. That's not the case. This is always craftable gear. You can craft this gear in the Forge. And unlike basic gear, the basic gear will still be available. Unlike basic gear, which has like a 5% chance to be elite and other percentage chances to be epic or legendary, etc. This has no randomness and rarity. It's always going to be the same rarity, right? So when you craft it, you know at least the base, kind of the base power level that you're getting. The unique thing about Ascendant Gear, however, is each crafted piece of gear comes with these 4 unique substats. Some of them you might have seen before in other types of power-ups, other types of runes, glyphs, riders, or other pieces of gear, but some of them will be novel and new, and we're going to experiment with some that we think folks will like, as far as different substats that will be on these pieces of Ascendant Gear, and there's going to be 4 of them that are assigned to each piece of gear you craft. These substats will grow along with the main stats, right? So when you level, for example, an Ascendant boot, there's one there to the right in the image. It's going to level up the kind of core stats just like basic gear does now. But at 4 points within the leveling up, one of the substats will also be leveled up. So what this ultimately does is creates multiple dimensions and greater customization for your loadout. Dragon, rider, gear combinations. It just creates a lot of different options and a lot of different ways to equip yourself to uniquely play in the game. So with that being said, let's get a first look and move to kind of an initial screen. Now, keep in mind, we haven't launched this yet, so some of the details here might change. Don't pay attention to really like necessarily the numbers and the substats drawn, but this is what it's going to basically look like, right? We're going to have possible substats on the right that's going to be scrolling. I think we have like 15, 16, 17, 19, up to 20 different types of buffs that we can put on these pieces of gear. But that we're not going to put all of those as possible substats on a piece of gear, right? Because that's going to create a lot of different combinations, and we want to help players kind of map out what they want a little easier than that. So pieces of gear, if you have 4 possible substats, might have 5 or 6 that are available to kind of appear on the piece of gear when you craft them. And that's kind of what we're going with, right? So there's going to be some surprises with crafting gear, but it's going to be within a defined band. It's important to note that the power scaling is going to be pretty similar to elite gear. So if you recall with elite gear, it's like a 5% chance to roll an elite gear and you craft it in basic gear. In this case, you'll always get something that generally maps to elite gear power, except it can go to level 12. So a lot of the same mechanics, right? You have basic gear, you have ascendant gear, you can craft this gear, and you have substats, and the substats grow, like I said. So some examples of substats, well, there's some right there, right? Rage regeneration, increased healing, different attack and HP buffs, experience gain, various tower resists, and we'll have them, some might map to specific types of dragons, right? We might have like, warrior HP buff and hunter attack buff, and some might be just more specific, more general to dragons. So there's a lot of options here. We're still working out sort of the specifics, but this is the basic mechanic. As far as currencies, we are going to have new currencies. They're going to be gemstones and crafting tomes. However, we're going to allow people to exchange them. So we're going to have trading posts, and hopefully we're going to add, if we can manage it, add in the forge a way to kind of trade back and forth between the currencies for this coolness gear. I think we have a video too. So if we can go to the next slide and kind of quickly show the video. Yeah, so this is actually showing like leveling up. It shows you the substats that increase when you level up. I think this is level 3, 2 to 3. Shows you the increase in substats and kind of how that works and what it looks like in the UI. So again, similar to basic gear, just a few more additional mechanics that are inherent in Ascendant gear. So let's talk about like what the next steps are with Ascendant gear. Like where does the rubber hit the road? Like how's this actually going to work? So a few notes about launch plan. Besides the fake launch today, surprise, fake launch. So we have an upcoming launch. We're going to soft launch this. So we're going to launch with just boots. The point of this is to provide some runway and time to get feedback and make changes as we need to. And also to introduce some things slowly. We think it's better to be cautious when we introduce some things. And we want to do it slowly so that we can get feedback, like I said. So that's going to come out first with Ascendant boots. Once we feel comfortable with Ascendant boots, full launch is coming after that. When we launch, we're going to give everyone a gift of currency to be able to craft several pieces of gear to get used to the feature. And so no need to exchange currencies just yet when we launch. And as far as the actual date, stay tuned. We're shooting for probably mid-March, but we'll let you know more ahead of time. And similar to dragons, we're gonna give you like more hard stats, right? We're gonna give you more information in like formal comms. My initial version of this presentation had a lot of numbers and stats and buffs on it, but RDM wisely advised me to. We didn't want to kind of bog down the stream with all that, so wanted to give you the kind of summaries and the highlights, and then we'll supply the more detailed information in comms via forum in comms in the game. So I haven't looked at the chat. I'm sure there's lots of questions. So I can pause there and see what we got.
A good question was, how hard will it be to get a specific substat on the gear? If there are 4 options, will all 4 have a balanced 25% chance to craft?
Yes, it's uniform. So we're not gonna like force, at least with this, we're not planning to, right? We're not planning to force any sort of distribution or probability. Like if it's possible 4, it's gonna be 25%. If it's possible 5, it's gonna be 20% each, etc.
Yeah, no specific stats are harder or easier to get. You're not more likely to get something that you might not want as much, or a stat that is less desirable, than you are to get one that you might find super strong. The pool is the same for all the pieces of gear. You have the same amount of options. There are more options than you get. So, there's not only 4 options and you get all 4 every time. There are multiple options and you get 4 of them, but which 4 you get is completely even distribution. It's not weighted so that you get the one you don't want more often or anything like that.
At max power, will it be similar to Elite? Or is
so
it...
at level 10, it will be somewhat similar to Elite. It actually goes to level 12 though. So at max power, it'll be stronger than Elite gear. But level for level, it'll be around the same with the addition of substats.
Will you be able to salvage the Ascendant gear if you don't like the substat and get some of your currencies back?
Yeah, we're planning to allow salvaging. We're still working on some aspects of this though, so we'll give you more detail in the comms.
How will new currencies be earned?
Yeah, so there's a few ways. One is we're going to allow you to exchange them. So old shards for the new gemstones. The other is we're going to put them in season branches. I think a lot of people already have a lot of shards and crafting scrolls that have accumulated over many, many years. So we're just going to replace some of those and add some of those in various season branches. There's a question around the exchange. It won't be a one-to-one exchange, simply because we wanted to like reset the order of magnitude of the costs. It will be about 1,000 to 1, but costs will reflect that as well. It's more just bringing things in line so that we don't end up with like a number in the many of millions when we don't have to, as far as thinking about kind of costs and crafting costs and having inventory, right? It's just easier for our system to track 30 gemstones instead of 30,000.
It'll be a little better than Elite or a little better than Mythic. It sounds like it's gonna be able to go up to a level 12 is what PGYohn was saying. So at level 10, it will be similar to, did we say exotic? Yeah.
Elite, yeah.
Okay.
So since it's craftable, we tagged, like we sort of like in our heads aligned it to other craftable gear, in this case Elite gear, which is the result of crafting. So we sort of tagged to that, but we scaled it a little higher. Yeah, so we modeled it after Elite gear.
And then exotic's going away, correct?
Is that the case, RDM?
I do not work on the team that does exotics. I believe that they will still be around for a little bit longer.
Okay.
I'm not sure if they are going away or if they will continue to appear, unfortunately. But I don't think we have plans of stopping them right now, or at least stopping distribution right now. But I'm not 100% clear on that, unfortunately.
Yeah. One other thing to add, so existing gear, nothing's happening to it. You can still use it. You can salvage it. You can equip it. You can do what you will with it. This isn't a replacement. It's an addition. So I think I saw some questions about existing gear. Nothing's happening to it. So feel free to keep your gear if you want it. Salvage it. Do what you will.
Thank you for clarifying, by the way, because someone told me that like reputable people told me that exotic was going away. So that's good to know.
I want to state I don't know the details.
Okay.
So it's not. I'm not. I don't mean to say it's not going away or it is going away. I just don't know. So
Okay.
it could be. It could be anything. I don't work on that team, so I don't
Okay.
have those specifics, unfortunately.
We'll talk to the people that work on that team and get back.
Okay.
We'll let you know.
People. Yeah.
Never mind. I'm not going to say anything. I was
Okay.
just going to take a guess, but that's probably not a good idea.
Everything is subject to change. Chat is going so fast.
Okay. Multiple people in chat are saying that it is going away. So if there was an announcement made about it that multiple of you heard, then that is likely the case. Resurrection Dragon has not been announced yet for this season, so there is no news on that.
There seems to be some desire for one particular dragon to be resurrected. We'll have to get back to you on that.
The dragon that shall not be named.
A funny story. So when I first started working at Pocket Gyms way back when, and I guess it was like spring, or no, I had accepted the job for summer 2020, but I started playing more actively, like in my interview process, like in the fall of 2019. That was around when the Krelos season was. Like, it was probably spring 2020 maybe, or summer. And I like didn't know anything. Like, I did not know what I had to do. So I got like a Krelos in the first 2 Evo stones, and I was like, this is awesome. I love this dragon. And now I have like kind of like a 1/12 level maxed Krelos that is no longer useful to me except in like Assault and Dungeons. And I kick myself for that every day. So I empathize, I guess is what I'm saying. I missed my chance. I did not listen to all the wisdom that had accumulated over many years in the various forums and such. So I empathize, I guess. That's a little tidbit about PGYohn's silly mistake early on in my War Dragons playing.
I have some friends that started the game within the last couple of years, and they missed it too. It'll like so break the game though if we bring it back. Everybody wants it, but then everybody will be complaining that only Kreloses are Krelosing their bases.
Cool. Like, did you see any other questions on Ascendant gear? I kind of skimmed it. I think we covered most of it, but I just want to make sure before we move on.
I think we're starting to shift topics a little bit here in chat to other things.
Yeah. Okay.
We're ready.
Cool. Well, let's talk about Relics then. So, Relics sneak peek. This is a real sneak peek, not a small sneak peek that you got a sneak peek of earlier, because this is the real sneak peek. So, what are Relics? Relics are sort of how Ascendant gear is like the next iteration of basic gear. Relics are sort of the next iteration of runes and glyphs. So they expand on existing rune capabilities to hopefully provide even more options for players. I think some folks saw some of the UI changes that were introduced to accommodate Relics with this past release. So basically, what they are the runes and glyphs with sort of a collectible twist. So they're going to be limited time, tied to a season, so that you're going to acquire them similar to how you would acquire like other content within a season. And they're represented by a former rider. We thought this was kind of a cool way to kind of make them a little more collectible instead of kind of like a rune sign, right? You'll see in this GIF, there's Dimitron relics, right? So we're gonna have these kind of collectible relics, and they'll have like runes and glyphs, multiple buffs. Instead of 2, they'll have 3, and then we'll have multiple rarities of them. There will be silver, gold, bronze types of relics that can be leveled up. and become more powerful over the course of a season. So let's talk a little bit more about the core mechanics. So they're only unlocked in a new season branch. I'm on the equation slide, by the way, because we're a little delayed.
Okay.
Yeah, no worries. And they're leveled with their earned currency. The currency is going to be available in event prizing, so we're just going to add them to event prizing. And they'll be used to unlock nodes in the Relics season branch. And that's how you acquire these new relics. We're also going to put them in chests. We're still working out what those chests, what the mechanic and the drop rate and all that stuff will be, but we're going to put them in chests as well. So just by playing the game as you play it now, you'll be able to acquire these various currencies, so these keys, to unlock relics throughout the course of a season. And that's it on Relics. That's the soft intro on Relics. And again, like Ascendant Gear, we're going to provide more detailed comms. We already have like a 3-page document written that we can at least share a version of with the community that talks about, that has graphics and talks about the actual kind of like costs and things like that. But I just wanted to share an initial look with you today.
Yeah.
What kind of questions do we have?
Do you have to have the rider in order to use their relic?
So TBD, but likely not. It's not going to be like a relic that you necessarily have to like use on a rider that's bonded to the dragons. That could change, but that's not the plan.
And it's all going to be former writers, these relics.
Correct. The idea was we have like all this cool lore and all these cool former kind of art assets of these writers that we've used once, and they sort of disappear from the game. And we figured it would be really cool to kind of have them be part of the game. If you really love Farah, for example, hey, why not get the Farah relic as well? Farah is a really cool kind of first spell writer actually, and we wanted to be able to use that art again.
Like the example, is there going to be 4 relics to be able to be equipped on a dragon, or 2? It shows 2, but it looks like there's 4 slots. They asked me to go back a slide, so I went back a slide.
Got it. So I don't have a solid answer for you on that right now. We're still kind of in the midst of figuring out those like kind of minor param things. But we'll get more information to the crew once we know. To be fully transparent, one of the main people who worked on this is on vacation, so I'm giving you the summary, and so that person will once they're back, will give a little more information. But I'm answering the best I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Question is, they're only limited time. Does that mean they're only available for a limited time, or they only work for a limited time?
Only available. They'll work once you have them. They're yours, and they'll work.
Is there extra...
Go ahead. Sort of like a seasonal dragon.
Is there an extra buff if you can match the rider with the relic?
So we actually talked about this. There is not, but we did talk about this. We thought it would be interesting, but we felt it would introduce maybe some negative aspects, for lack of a better word. I know some games do this, right? There's like set bonuses and things like that, but we ultimately decided not to do it.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we wanted to do with these announcements is kind of show you guys what's on the horizon, even if we don't have complete final forms for them yet. Just because we've been working on them for a while, and we're excited about it, and we want to get you guys excited about it too, and show you that there's very cool big features coming up fairly soon. So some of the details on Relics aren't 100% locked in at the moment, but we did want to share with you that they're coming and they're new, and a little bit of like that's why the rune tabs changed in game, is in part due to setting this feature up, to give you a little bit of clarity on that, and also that these riders are figures that exist in the story, and they kind of like appear for a season and then you never see them again unless they're like Xandra and you see them all the time. So like this is another opportunity for us to give you a little bit more customization, and there's a little bit more personality, and you can show off, you know, the riders that you like, in a new way, where they don't necessarily impact you as much as it does to ride the dragon with the rider. And also we want to highlight different parts of the art too. In the picture of the equation, we have like the head in the shot, but we've been thinking of other ideas as well. Like, should we highlight like their weapons or their artifacts in the artwork, and then we can add some story and lore about how those contribute to their power or the story of the game, and just, you know, add a little bit richness and depth to the overall experience, and the story and the narrative of War Dragons as well.
Are there going to be relics for attacking dragons only, or will there be some for defense as well?
Should be both. Yeah.
Oh, will season costs be remaining the same for corruption?
Yes.
Yes.
39,000 sigils for a full branch, etc., etc. And then the discounts after that.
Wow. I get that question like every time I do a stream, but I'm never able to answer it. It's amazing to me that you're here.
Right? That's awesome.
Yeah, that's big news. How exciting.
Inflation's infecting the rest of the world, but not war dragons.
I see some questions about time frame. We can actually flip to that the next slide. So here's some dates to keep in mind. One is corruption season is March 1st. I think that was expected. If not, surprise, corruption season is March 1st. Two, relics, the plan is to go out Wednesday, March 15th. Really, there'll be the tech will be available on Tuesday, March 14th. But the relics will be available for you to engage with on Wednesday, March 15th. And Ascendant gear is TBD, though we're shooting for mid-March, so probably actually the same time. But we put TBD so as not to promise anything, and then have to shift it for you. But once we have a firmer date, we will let you know, okay? Yeah, and that will be just the boots. And then once we've released that and obtained feedback, we can incorporate that into the other gear and then send that your way as well. And that will be, you know, likely a few weeks after. So those are the timelines. There were other questions on, I remember another question, I already forgot what it was. Well, I forgot what the other question I saw was that I wanted to answer, but I'm sure there's some others. What's your take, Laika? What do you think? What are you thinking?
I'm excited to roll the dice to see what kind of stats I get on some new gear. And I am excited to see what our relic options are going to be. Because what you've shown us is just an example, so I have no idea what's coming, but it's exciting. Everything that makes our dragons better makes me happy.
Good.
I've been having, this is a little bit of a tangent, but when you mentioned excited to roll some gear, I've been having a really good time working with kind of our testing team, our QA team, on the gear, because they'll record everything that they get when they're testing, and then they send me like a spreadsheet of it just so I can check the numbers and make sure everything's working right. But I like to look at the gear that they rolled and think to myself like, oh, that's a really good piece that guy got. like, oh, he got so lucky, like he got a max this stat on that one. And it's like so fun for me to to think about doing that in game with like my friends in my guild, right? Like check out this like really sick pair of boots I rolled, or check out this axe I rolled, or something like that. You know, like I got like the max amount of I don't know, HP or like hunter attack or something. And it just seems like I can't wait for everyone to get their hands on it and to be able to do that and like really start customizing how you play, and what your dragon loadouts look like and what your gear sets look like, and start thinking like what is the best gear I could put on this dragon. Like maybe this dragon attack is better, or maybe this dragon some other substats like shielding strength or something like that could be really good on. And so you can start working with your guild and in theory crafting what great gear would be and start building it out. And it's just a lot of fun. And I've been having a blast with it. And when you said that, it made me think of like how much fun it is to kind of review the QA team's like rolls and and like look for like insanely good ones that they managed to roll while they were testing.
That's cool that they had to roll. Same as we will.
Yeah, I mean they have tools to like you know, test things more specifically than having to roll, but we want them to roll to make sure that it's working right.
Right.
Yeah.
Some people want to see the dragons again, so I'm just going to run through them again.
Excellent. I'm always in favor of seeing our cool art again.
Yeah, show us the art. Show us the art.
Yes. How do you say this again?
This is Clayless.
Clayless. Beautiful discount dragon. And then Mythic Warrior. Mythic Sorcerer. And then Mythic Hunter. Spells will be coming out probably next week sometime. We have not seen the spells yet. 5 million people have asked if there's any new events coming, so I'll just ask.
No, we don't have any new events planned.
I don't think so.
For this season.
We have been working on these big features. That doesn't mean there won't ever be, right? But these are the main things that we're working on at the moment. Yeah.
Awesome.
I like the question of which dragon is my favorite, because I do have like I've flown them insight. And I don't want to get into spell specifics, and I don't want to color the room too much. But I will say that there are a lot of unique mechanics on the new dragons that I'm finding a lot of fun. I think the warrior plays in a different way than most warriors, and I've been enjoying that a lot. The hunter has a new mechanic we've never done before, which is really fun. And the sorcerer might be a little familiar to a fan favorite sorcerer. So they all are pretty cool, and I'm excited about them all. I think if you are a sorcerer fan, it's a good season to get excited. I think if you are a hunter fan, it's a great season to get excited. And I think if you're a warrior fan, it's a great season to get excited.
So they're all good.
Yeah, so they're all not only strong, but they are unique. And it's not always true that in a season each of the dragons has something special that they can bring to the table. I guess it's not true that the sorcerer is unique. The sorcerer is very familiar, but familiar to a fan favorite, so I think players will like it. But the other two dragons are very unique, and so I'm excited to have players get their hands on it and see what they think. I've been having a lot of fun with them.
Cool.
So I guess I didn't answer which one's my favorite, but I saw the question and I was excited to talk about them.
Do you have a favorite looking?
I guess I asked both of you, but I didn't answer that myself, huh? That is a great question. I think it would also have to be between the discount and the warrior for me. I love the art on the discount and the story. And I think that the warrior looks really cool. I like how it has like antlers or like horns on its head, but not like typical dragon horns. I think that that's super cool, and I like it's like very light looking armor, like that the armor is like more frame than like heavy metal chunks, and I think that's like super cool. It gives it like a really unique look. So I'm down with those vibes. I'm vibing with those two the most.
Awesome. Gonna be an awesome season.
Yeah. We have a little bit more time to take some questions, or we can toss it back to you, Leica, if you have some stuff you want to do in the last couple minutes here.
Yeah, we have a giveaway to do. Do you guys want to do our giveaway now, or do you guys have any more questions? I don't have all the writers, Corrigan. He's asked several times if there's any plans with the blue writer stones. If you're endgame, yes, you probably have all the everythings. I'm close to endgame, but I don't have everything. All right. They're just asking general questions. We're going to go to the giveaway. I'm going to put this over here. Get our giveaway song going. You guys want to get some hype in the chat for our giveaway? We're going to do 5 drawings, you guys. I'm going to ask for your in-game name immediately. So be sure to reply if you are the winner. Are we ready? Thank you. Thank you for the hype. I usually blast some KDA right now. Okay, our first winner is MJ. Congrats, MJ. Our second winner, I saw her, she's here. I'll double check, she's in chat. Yep, MJ's still here. My former team leader, so I know her in-game name. All right, our second winner. It's Rani. Hello, can I have your in-game name, please? Congratulations. Let me make sure they're in chat. Yeah, they're here. It's Rani. I need your in-game name, please. Oh, perfect. Priceless. That's a great name. All right. Third winner. Paper. I think Paper went to bed. He said bye earlier. Yeah, I don't see him. All right, we're going to redraw. Revs 911. I don't see them in chat. Let's see. Oh, you're here. You're here. What's your in-game name, please? Congrats, congrats. All right, we have 2 more to go. McBooper! What's your in-game name, please? Perfect. Perfect, easy in-game name. All right, our final winner. Hugh! Which account do you want it to go to, Hugh? Been trolling us the whole time with Krelos. Big fat congratulations to all of our winners.
Congrats! Yeah.
Your mini? Okay. Perfect. All right, everybody. You have a great rest of your day. Thanks, PG RDM and PGYohn, for telling us all the new stuff to do with the new season. I'm super looking forward to it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. And thank you everyone for coming. It's been a really exciting stream. I can't wait to get this stuff in your hand.
Me too.
Yeah, thanks so much, everyone. We love being on here. Hopefully you found it useful. And I guess until next time, more info to come.
Sounds great. All right. Bye, everybody.